Okay, so this is the one mirror match that I had. Other friends of mine were still playing on the floor. Excuses, I know, but one day I'll get a table and all of that will be fine. So I set one monster and I set two back row. And my opponent just sets two back row, plays Plot of Duality, he reveals a Fiendish Chain, Worm's X, and Call of the Haunted. Taking the Worm's X, interesting plays is that he sets two, and then dualities, which is kind of a tell like he's got something. Well, it would be if he was a good player, but I assume, as you'll agree from watching this, he is not. So he summons Zex, and I pay the 2 value, so I'm wanting it, which is fine. I don't want him to start off anything. So he sets one more, and I'm like, interesting. So during its end phase, I play the Nebula, and I get Carteros, and Carteros gets me my own Worm's X. And then Carteros can go down, and I draw a card, and I get Worm King, because Nebula is so silly like that. Best card in the game. One of the most broken cards I've ever seen. I do actually tell him he can't respond, because he does look at them. But he asks why, and I'm like, well, this is the turn they are set, this is just your end phase. And that's why you see my hand at some point soon, I believe, just point at his stuff there. There it is, that bit. Right. This counts a final time so I can actually draw for my turn. I think resolving Nebula with Carteros is actually ridiculous because you're getting 2 free monsters. Well, you're getting 2 free monsters with Nebula. You're getting an extra card. You draw for turn, you just search another monster. It's so silly. Why is that a thing? Okay, so there's a very interesting bit that's coming up, and I'm gonna be quiet while you can hear it, because it's very important.
Effect? I will. Bottomless. Cool!
What do you want for
As a Traptrix monster, she is unaffected by the effect of Trap Holes.
Oh yeah, shit.
I will search Bottomless.
You see that? He's Bottomless is my Traptrix, my Amelia, which is an awful play because you just waste a Bottomless. It doesn't do anything. At this point I realized, there's no way I can possibly lose this game. I checked to see how many cards are in his hand. I believe that was a Dimensional Prison. I don't have my notes up for this game because I'm doing this basically on memory because I've seen this enough times to have it engraved permanently in my mind. Terrible things. So he's got 2 cards in hand. He doesn't chain the Book of Moon, so attack for 16. It's actually very interesting to me rewatching this, that he doesn't particularly know how to get value off of his cards. The moment you learn to get value off of your cards, I believe you start to understand the game slightly more. So what we see here is I have 3 set cards, and then I pass turn basically. So he summons the Dioneer and he's checking its effect to see all about it, but he has no targets. I know this, he probably knows this at some point. I tell him, you've no targets. But he looks anyway, because might as well. But he keeps setting things in main phase 1. So I Mirror Force the Dioneer because he's a 6-4 and I pretty much believe I have this. So I attack, then I monster and I set 1 more back row. I feel like I'm really good and I'm really in high stands. I still have 2 Worms in hand. Let's not forget that I got those with the Colorless Flip for Nebula and the Colorless Flip for his Flip Summon the following turn. So I draw and he has 2 back row and I'm like, this is the turn I win. So I get Carteros and I search for Worm Tentacles. Yeah, Worm Tentacles. Worm Tentacles, you can banish 1 worm from your graveyard and he can attack twice. I actually really like him as a finisher. Or just a general, I have to get over this. Proxy card? Don't know what it is. Don't ask me. I can't remember. But, yeah, I attack for game. And that will be the end of game 1. I hope you enjoyed that. It wasn't the best to play. See him picking up his cards now. And we're back with game 2. So there's a notable thing is the green border around the 1. And that's the thing that I have 1 win. I think about putting a border on them now. As opposed to the last one where there wasn't one, it was just like there. Just to signify that they've got a win. So he starts off pretty nicely with his Zex Jagen play. And I'm like, oh, look, if he has Nebula, that'd be too good. He sets 1 card and I'm like, oh my. So, I MST it. Now my MSTs are actually German, and just to note, that was a Trap-on nightmare. My MSTs are secret rare and German, and I love them, and they're actually called like Mr. Sharam Typhoon, if that's any good of a German accent or pronunciation. If not, it's terrible. So I have 1 set monster and I have 3 back row, and he flips up Jagen and he's reading it and I'm like, yeah, you can't flip my monster. That is that. I want to point out that understanding how well your opponent can play actually allows you to be able to make some less good plays, but you can make some lesser good plays, you can make some actual bad plays, and then you can still win. Okay, so he activates King of Feral Imps, and like, let's Trap-on Nightmare that. And he's like, oh, what's that do? And I'm like, you have a proxy of the card? Crazy fool. I want to point out that I'm actually running no proxies. I'm not a fan of playing them. I'm not a fan of this Nebula either. Okay, so Nebula should always be used in a defensive manner, or one where you can generally gain advantage off of. Now the thing here is, I was always going to flip up my Carteros, so he's really just, essentially just like not even giving me a summon. Like, I now have a free face-up Carteros. He also misplays in this. I'm sure you can realize, I'm sure you can see where. So with some of the Zex, and I can send whatever I want to the grave, which will be Jagen. Alright, this bit right now, he's actually saying, when does Nebula trigger? And I'm like, okay, in the end phase, if you have anything left. And he asks, what do you mean, if I have anything left? So yeah, I send the Jagen, and when I reply to the, if I have anything left, by saying like, to get Worm King, you need to draw. To draw, you need to have face-up reptile, light reptile monsters. So, yeah. I think he does this expecting me not to crash. Because he called the Haunted Zex back, and I'm like, alright. However, here's the interesting thing. If he was to go, okay, end phase, if he was to just take the 18 and wait till the end phase and then play it, then he would have drawn 1 card and got Worm King and been in a significantly better spot. I think I was going to set something and then didn't. I don't know. So anyway, I've still got my Carteros and he's got Zex. He actually asks if, because he now has 2 Jagens in the graveyard, can he get them both? Yeah, I know it's annoying, right? Having to play someone who doesn't really know your deck that well. I mean, Worms in my archetype, I'm probably the best 1-player EU. So that's good to know. It's good to know for me at least. Yeah, he asks about getting 2 Jagens, and I'm like, well, if you have a face-down monster, that's not having just 1 Zex. So what I do here is I actually just get Zex back with my Call Haunted, and then I special summon my Jagen from earlier. See? That's how you get free stuff. So I attack in, and his Jagen bounces my Zex back. Call Haunt is pointless, so I put it back upside down. I think I don't actually know why, but like he's like, okay, Jagen's dead, and I'm like, no. So Jagen's like back on the field. His Zex can't be destroyed by battle. That's a wonderful effect of Zex. At this point, I'm basically just saying I'm not allowing you to have your own little pluses. Now here's one of the interesting parts. He should have really just like tried to attack into Zex. So he summons Omega. You can see like I flashed a Drive to Trouble name it, but I flip up Nebula. I point to that card and say, okay, that also flips. Yagan to target that, and he's like, okay. I search for Carter's, right? I'm like, yep. I think he only searches for Zex with Carteros. I'd probably eventually look at his build when I'm back there. Back there at home. At the moment I'm up in uni, so that's kind of cool for me. I can meet up with the TCG lover and stuff again. So yeah, this is his turn. He plays Dark Hole, and I'm like, wow. Banish my Yagan. Look at it there, nice and shiny. I love worms. I love like the Hidden Arsenal archetype. I guess he realizes that I would win, like, intensely if the Nebula resolved. That's fine. Whatever. I don't care. So at this moment I'm looking at my background and I'm thinking, what is it that I can do? So I play Soul Charge because Soul Charge is the real idea. Now, I'm thinking like maybe there's a bottomless there. Maybe something is there. And I go, let's just go for it. And so I special summon 3. Now the idea behind this, okay, I'm not attacking this turn, but, you know, I can make King of Feral Imps. I believe I do. And then I can start to search for useful things. The idea is to attach Yagan, in case, like, I don't know, in case he gets rid of King, but it's just fine. So I search Kairos because Kairos is a fantastic, like, searcher. Like, King may not always stay around, so I set the last of my hand, which is one monster, which is Kairos, and 1 back row. Now, it's coming up again, where I have to, oh my god, excuse me, where I have to pause my audio so that you can hear the original audio of a particular moment. And it's very interesting, and he's just like, we're just discussing about the Yagan at the moment.
Summon Zex then.
Bottomless, feel free to use the fact.
So I can use this effect, yeah?
Yeah. Yagan specials itself.
Alright, so Yagan.
What are you doing? Zex's effect is to dump a worm from the deck to the grave.
Yeah.
Feel free to use it.
That's fine.
Guys, honestly, it's like confusing in that I want to elaborate my choices of words and when I said them. I don't think I need to cover anything else that happens. There's a duality that shows another duality, Yagan and a bottomless, and he adds the Yagan. So I said bottomless, feel free to use the effect. Obviously I'm referring to Zex because he's got an effect where he can dump a worm when he's summoned. So he looks in the graveyard and he says, so I can use the effect. I went, yes. So he... Wait, what? No. So he's asking, like, can I use the effect? I'm like, yes. He's looking for his graveyard. I'm like, no. Yagan special summons itself. Like, I say that because Yagan's got an effect, which he would have to activate, but he can't because, Zex is bottomless and, well, I was saying he's free to use Zex's effect. But I guess he didn't understand that. I was very confused. This is a play that I'm not particularly fond of making, but I think I'm glad I made it. Yeah, it was a Mirror Force. So don't die wolf like 1 back row, and I'm like, yeah, okay. This is a turn where I'm like, I think I win. I'm like, smack. So he's down to 23, and I was like, if it wasn't Mirror Force, I would have been so disappointed. But it is, so it's okay. But yeah, with Yagan, if you have no other monsters apart from Worm's on the field, you can special summon it face down. At the time he didn't, so I was really confused. Okay, so I love to bluff dualities all the time. It's a little thing of mine. I take a duality with the duality over the duality or Fiendish Chain. I don't think Fiendish Chain is really worth it at this moment because I am the aggressor. Yeah. I love little terms like that. I am the aggressor, he's the... I think he has to control the aggression that I'm putting on. Throw out the Worm King, yes. I say, like, at this point, Worm King doesn't matter. Because really it doesn't. Like, I've not seen my nebulas, and I'm not having them really active, so... I attack with a Zex. It's a Jaeger, I was expecting it to be Carderos, but, you know, that's fine. I suppose, like, I don't really lose anything either way. Especially with how this played out. It's a Fiendish Chain on my King of Feral Imps, and I'm like, no. Please no. So he returns, like, the tentacles back to the hand. I'm really confused about that. Oh my god, he tries to normal summon the Kage to Kage. Oh. Literally, like, the first line is, this card cannot be normal summoned. That is ridiculous. I'm playing against this guy. Awful, awful, awful. So I see the duality in the Fiendish Chain again, I'm like, whoa. They are everywhere. But it doesn't help me get over the normal Kage to Kage summon. And it's like, what? Like, I understand, like, reading cards isn't a big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's not very favourable to do, but it's the first line, please. So he summons the Dio, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Because, like, I know he's got Kage in hand, so whatever. I've got all that back row, and he's just got this. So he summons it, well, specials the Kage, which he can, you know, it wasn't a normal summon, guys, it's cool now. Oh. And he goes for, I believe that's considered Omega, like, Omega never lives. Oh, that made me jump! My own sound effects made me jump, I wasn't expecting it, oh my. That's ridiculous. So I paid 2,000 for warning and get rid of it, so I'm at 2-4, I'm 100 points ahead. I flip up Carderos, and I add Zex, and I basically say, I win now. As you may remember, I have Worm Tentacles in hand. I also play a very unpopular rank 4 now. It used to be like a really good rank 4, but now it's just unseen. It's Photon Papillon Operative, and it turns a defense position, turns the monster in defense to attack, and it loses 600 attack. And, you know, I find it good for just moments like these, where it's, he takes 13 and 17, and that's game. So, me obviously proving that I am the best one player EU ever. Yes, that's me, best one player EU. Dominating this guy in the mirror. Really kind of an easy game, but like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.